I think like a tale of our time is something like a mirror to the society, to your own experience. But when you read something and then you can imagine yourself as the main character and how would you face that situation. Those kind of books can give you hint or clues about like the things happening to you, like right now in your daily life or in the world right now. That's what I mean. So when the story is talking to you and when you really see yourself, I think that's the most important part.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Our Times. This is a show where we discuss the stories that move us, what makes them so meaningful, and why others could or should find meaning in them as well. This is not a spoiler-free show, so bear that in mind as you continue to listen. We tackle movies, books, video games, and more. Where there's a story, there's a reason to read. I'm your host, Amanda Stevens, and joining me today is my friend, Alex Cailleaux. Cailleaux.
Cailleaux. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Like French name always complicated to spell, so that's okay.
Well, welcome, Alex. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome. So my name is Alex Cailleaux. I'm French, as you can hear, and I'm working for a company called Beast Kingdom that does like toys and collectibles. So that's a subject that I'm really like into it, and always trying to find what will be the next big things, where it's like it's movies, comic books, like toys in general. So always trying to find like what's happening right now and what people are interested in.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've always been somebody who has kind of your finger on the pulse of like what's up and coming. As long as I've known you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. Where is it in fashion or or toys right now? So yes, trying to see what's the big thing, and also I think it's. Like for me, because I'm a big collector and like a good, I would say, consumers for everything.
I don't think you can be one without the other, you know?
Yes, exactly. But I mean, I think it's better when you try to, connect everything. Like I like toys because they are connected to TV shows or movies, and then since I'm a kid and I'm really big into nostalgia things, so like from the 80s, 90s products, and even to today. So. I'm a good. I would say I'm the subject, and also I would say the vendor. The seller.
Well, that's why you have your. I already said finger on the pulse, right? But that's how you have your connection to it, is because you're also watching for yourself. It's not just for what you can do with it, which does actually line up with the story that you were going to talk about today. Because just this morning or last night, you sent me a Kickstarter for the same IP that we're discussing today.
Exactly.
It's now being turned into a game.
Yeah, so it's like there was it's the first 24 hours, like our second day of crowdfunding campaign for the, I would say, board game, role play game, and card game adapted from the story that I'm here to talk about,
which is
Dungeon Crawler Carl. Originally, so it's a book from Matt Dinneman, and I discovered the book. I think as most people that discovered that IP was through Audible, so as a audio book.
Wow!
And I read that I think most people knows because of how amazing like the Audible the audiobook version is. So the Audible is made by someone called Jeff Hayes, which is also like a really amazing like voice.
I was just thinking, I recognize that name.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
So he has a sound booth theater that's his own company that produce audiobooks. So it's really great because it's like some audiobooks you have like if it's a man talking as a woman or talking as a kid, he will use his own like the same voice. So you don't.
Right.
It's really
it's
hard
like when you're reading to your children, like
exactly.
Hey, where are we going?
Yeah. But you don't really see that much like difference, or it's like overacted. But him like. I know a lot of people, when he does the woman voice, they actually think that it's a woman that was recording.
It's like a whole studio, it feels like.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's really good, like the voice, the sounds. I think like the whole... he really created something like a universe that even more than the book. So I think the book is already really, really good. But the Audible version, I think what made it so popular.
So the audiobook is really one of the most outstanding parts of this. And I think we'll get into like sort of the greater reach that this book has had. Is there anything else that you think we should know about it before we do? We're going to do a summary of just the first introduction book, and we'll talk more about the series afterwards. Is there anything we should know before that?
Well, I think the main thing is that it's a book, but I would say it's almost like a video game also.
Mm-hmm.
So it's part of a genre that's called literature RPG, lit RPG.
Mm-hmm.
So they all kind of function in the same ways that they are like let's say a video game or a role play game, like let's say a Dungeon and Dragon role play game.
Mm-hmm.
So the characters, they have like stats that will evolve. They choose a class, they will have like some abilities, and when you are reading the book, they are progressing, they are evolving, they gain new abilities, let's say chapter after chapters, and you have rules.
Yeah.
In general, most of the lit RPG books, they follow those rules and they try not to mix too much. But with Dungeon Crawler Carl, as we'll talk later, the good thing is like he find a way to, how to say it, like blend all of that and change the rule.
Okay. So it sounds like if you have some TTRPG or just RPG knowledge in general, that will serve you very well in this book series. And then especially maybe expect it to get a little bit meta in that regard.
Exactly.
Like we're going to be bending some rules here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a really good, I think, warning right up top. So then let's get into the summary. Alex, can you give me a summary of Dungeon Crawler Carl?
Yes. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is about Carl. So who is Carl? Carl is it's just a guy basically.
Yeah. He's Carl.
Yeah. So he used to be a Coast Guard veteran, and then now one day in winter he's at home like watching TV, and his cat, or actually his ex-girlfriend cat, Donut. Yeah. She escaped. She like jumped from the window and she goes outside. And
a disaster.
Yes, and Carl has to follow her. He forgot to put a pants, and he's just wearing a jacket, and he's in his boxer. This detail will be really important.
This is really important for me, having seen the cover.
Yeah. So he doesn't have pants, doesn't have shoes, and he's in the cold, and he's chasing his cat. And when he's chasing this cat, suddenly everything around him kind of like disappear or collapsed. So that means every building around him, like every, let's say, cars, everything that is like solid, I would say, suddenly collapse and was like is compressed.
Kind of like an Inception, where they were like, the world is bending around you.
Yeah. So what you realize is that, like, from his point of view, actually, like, everybody died suddenly, like all at once. And then he hears some, I'll say, voices or like a system that is telling him a game is about to start.
Oh my God.
The game is about like the survival of the people that are like still alive after everything. So that means if you were inside, if you were in a building, if you were in a car, anything, you're dead. But if you were outside at that moment, then you are still alive, and then you will have to, I would say, follow the rules and find an exit to survive.
So he is the character in this game.
He's the character in this game, but everybody that has survived are also players in these games.
Oh my God.
They have two choices. Either they can join the game, which means they will have to enter the exit all around, like tunnel door. And if they don't, they can stay and live on like the surface of the earth, but there's nothing left. Because everything disappeared.
You can live on the desolate surface of the earth.
Yes, so it's like post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
But they still have the choice. So Carl decides to get in or get out in some ways and enter these stairways that go underground, taking his cat with him and start the game.
Uh-huh.
The voice that explained the game, so it's the AI, said that there will be some levels. And for each level, there will be different rules, and the target of each level is to find the exit to go to the next level.
Okay.
Though when he entered the first level is kind of like, I would say, the tutorial, like in a video game. So it's in the first book. And that's where
the first book is the tutorial level.
Yes. So like I would say it's level 1 and 2. So in the first level, when he goes into the tunnel, he's attacked by a goblin on a tank like a,
typical beginner, beginner level guy.
Yeah. But so he has really to take a decision, and then of course he chooses to run and then try to, I would say, like try to survive. And then he will meet a guide, an NPC. So same as in the video game, you have characters that are not players, but that are either to help or to give the quest or to give information. And those characters are so called NPCs. Do a small spoiler, but we quickly understand that those NPC are actually participants from previous season of that game.
Oh my God.
Because this game happened to Earth, but it also happened
in other places.
In other world before. We also understand that this game is organized by the Boran company, which is kind of alien company from another world. And they see it as a TV show for the whole galaxy. So everything.
This is why you said it's like Hunger Games.
It's like Hunger Games. Like every action, everything is like filmed, I would say, or recorded. And then the people all around the universe watch the show and watch the character, which are like the human in this scenario. Yeah. But before he was like all the species, and they can vote and decide which are their favorites. So like kind of like sponsoring. This is really similar in that ways to Hunger Game. And so I would say the first book we then meet this NPC is called Mordecai. And Mordecai is the guide for Carl, but he's not really that helpful at the beginning because he's completely drunk, and then he doesn't really like care anymore, and it's kind of want to like give up in some way.
Mordecai.
So, yeah, we will meet him again and again throughout the books and then the next books, but each time he changed. He has a different race, a different appearance.
Oh, but it's always Mordecai.
Yeah, but it's always Mordecai. But like one time he's like Incubus, like a really handsome kind of like vampire with wings. Guy, or he's just a Canadian guy.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's completely random.
Yeah.
And this aspect, I think, is also like kind of sum up what the book is like it's fantasy, but it's really funny. It's really like it. There's a comedy. It's dark, but at the same time, you always have I would say commentary on like how we perceive people from different cultures. So that you have like a good commentary on that. So that's also something I really appreciate in that series.
So I'm going to assume that then the end of this book is him passing level 1 and level 2. And then at level 1, meaning like the tutorial level. Yeah.
So in the first level is just learning about the rules and how he will survive. In the second one, he will choose a class. I mean, the second level. So it's still in the first book, but he will choose a class and he will start to gain some abilities. And the class system in that book is not like, you have like a wizard, rogue.
It's not as high fantasy or Dungeons and Dragons.
No, so like Carl is a compensated anarchist.
That's his class.
That's his class,
Compensated anarchist.
And then Donuts, she's like a sentient character. She's like a player also.
Okay, so then that I feel like that takes us through like some of the most important beats of that first book, because then I'm assuming this is in the same way that literally Carl is getting set up through the tutorial and picking his class in the book. This first book is just setting up the rest of the series.
Yes.
For like his kind of like, he, at the end of the book, then he is dedicated to, I gotta survive. He has a class. He has Princess Donut and Mordecai.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's going on.
His whole like motto is the fact that he wants to survive, and also the game is made to break people. The game is made for like the players to give up. So they will put them in situation where they have to face either their deepest fear, or they will be in situation, or I would say the audience and the organizer expect them to say, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
I give up, or I will, or simply die. And he's always saying like, you will not break me. This game won't break me. The company behind it won't break me. So I will overcome. And that's some strength about it.
So then let's just go on into the meaning that you found in this book, or maybe even the series past this. So what made this book or this series so meaningful to you, in addition to the fact that we mentioned like it is something that is really, really popular right now. Like I feel like is kind of at the forefront of a zeitgeist that's building.
Yeah, because literature RPG is really like a genre that is like exploding. You have a lot of books and series that are amongst like the bestsellers on Audible or even like I would say physical books.
Yeah.
So I think it comes from the fact that even in my situation, I don't have time to play video games.
Yeah.
I wish I had, but I don't have time.
They're a really big time sink.
Yeah, they are like, and also like there's so many games right now. It's hard to like have enough time to play. But now let's say I give you a way to, in some ways, play video games. It's like you will gain levels, you will, I would say, in some way make choices, but even though they are made for you. But it's the same thing with why you have more and more people playing like Dungeon and Dragon or role play or something. So you are in the stories and it's evolving, and then you are getting stronger and stronger with each like new chapters.
It kind of scratches that itch.
Yeah.
It really feels like it's speaking to 2 or 3 different things at once. Because like you said, in addition to being the video game, in addition to being sort of this like escapism thing, it also feels like it has a little bit of like the reality TV to it, which makes it so watchable. Like all of those binging shows like Survivor, but also maybe a little bit like American Idol, because, you know, people are voting on these guys.
But I mean, it's so true, because you also have that dimension, because not only like Carl has to deal with monster, but he also has to deal with some teammates or other players that he will meet, some interaction. And also, and that's the interesting thing, like sometimes, I think book 3 or 4, but they will take the character out of the game. And he will have to do some interview. He will have to answer some questions, like go on TV shows. Like the TV presenter will have to, you know, like say like, oh, yeah, you were about to die. You almost died. So like, what were your sentiments at that time? You know?
How did you feel during that last battle? God, yes. But before I get ahead of myself, because I'm really getting sucked into the conversation, what do you think makes this book, or the series in particular, A Tale of Our Time? Do you think that it's connected to that ability to sort of like reach people on multiple dimensions, as like a video game substitute, a cultural critic, a reality TV substitute? Or is there something else to it that we haven't yet discussed?
I think it's about our relationship with media and how to say I think like either the social networks, the TV show, the reality TVs, is like how, if we were the subject, how we would react, and how all those media, they are in some way trying to control you, put, I would say, ideas in your brain, or trying to make the decision for you. The main character, Carl, he doesn't really have a choice, but still, is how we will face those things. And in our daily life, now, I mean, we have so much information, we have so much like shows or thing, and we have less and less, I would say, decision power to face it. And all those reality TV shows, they kind of try to make fake things like between the AI and everything, but
they're like manipulating the world around you, or trying to manipulate a situation for you.
Yeah. So like every year is kind of like a new level, like with different roles or anything that are not decided by, I would say, most people. And so, I mean, that book really like talk about that aspect, and also the way that if you have to face it, if you had powers, like you can act on it.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. But before we go, if you could give Dungeon Crawler Carl a one-phrase subtitle of your very own, what would it be?
I mean, I think it's pretty easy. It would be like next level.
Next level.
Yeah. Because it's what about what will be the next thing, and also as always try to push the limit. You think it's crazy, it will get crazier. You think it's the stakes are like low, they will become like higher and higher. Do you think it's only Earth? No, it's like the whole galaxy. Do you think it's only the whole galaxy? That's
Joke's on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Alex, thank you so much for coming in. I'm really glad to have learned about this, because a lot of my exposure, as I said at the beginning, was to images and like fan images of Carl. So finally having the context.
Oh, you have so much content between the books, the comic books that is coming out, the webtoon, plus the TV show will be coming in like I think a few years, like 2 years or some or so. So a lot of adaptation. So everybody, you hear that? You can look for how you want to engage with Dungeon Crawler Carl over here.
Thank you so much for your time today, Alex.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you listeners out there. This has been Tales of Our Time on Radio Taiwan International. I was your host, Amanda Stevens, with today's guest, Alex. And we were discussing Dungeon Crawler Carl. Next Level, a tale of our time. We'll see you next time.